Here's a chilling truth hiding in plain sight at your local grocery store, an invisible crisis creeping closer every day. The shelves may look full now, but the first foods to vanish aren't the luxury items. It's the cheap, essential survival staples quietly disappearing. And if this trend continues, they'll be gone before the year ends. While the world fixates on flashy shortages and breaking news, I've uncovered a deeper, more alarming pattern. The foods you rely on most are slipping away unnoticed, and prices are set to surge beyond anything we've seen. I've tracked the shipments, analyzed the markets, and the data doesn't lie. What I'm about to reveal will expose the truth behind this silent collapse, and one food on this list, number 10, will leave you stunned once you understand the forces at play. This is the warning no one else will give you. Listen carefully. 1. The white mineral gold. When the grid fails and supply chains shatter, the first thing you'll realize is that you can't preserve anything. That is when common iodized salt transforms from a cheap table condiment into the single most critical survival asset in your possession. You've seen empty shelves during panic buying, but you haven't seen a world where the ability to cure meat or stabilize electrolytes means the difference between life and death. Salt is that difference. It is the only food item that never expires, never rots, and never loses its potency, making it the ultimate currency when the dollar collapses. Right now, shipping costs are silently driving up the price of bulk minerals, and once the public realizes that salt is a medical necessity, not just a flavoring, it will vanish instantly. Stockpile it now while it's pennies on the dollar, because soon it will be worth its weight in gold. 2. The crisis carb. As the economy weakens and food budgets evaporate, you will need calories that don't require hours of fuel to cook. This is where dry lentils become your lifeline. Unlike other beans that demand endless boiling and precious water, lentils cook rapidly and provide a nutritional density that is almost impossible to beat for the price. They are a powerhouse of protein and iron that can keep you physically capable when exhaustion sets in. But the terrifying reality is that major global exporters are already diverting supplies, and we are looking at a supply shock that could spike prices overnight. In a survival scenario, you need food that is light, stores for decades in mylar, and keeps you alive without draining your fuel reserves. Lentils are that food. If you ignore them now, you are walking away from the most efficient survival fuel on the planet, the blackout grain. Imagine a winter where the power is out, gas lines are empty, and you are trying to cook raw grains over a small flame. That is a recipe for disaster, which is why instant rice is a non-negotiable stockpile item. Standard rice requires 20 minutes of boiling water, resources you won't have when the infrastructure crumbles. Instant rice requires barely a fraction of that energy, sometimes rehydrating with just hot water. It is a morale booster, a calorie stabilizer, and a versatile base for any scavenged meal. Global rice markets are already showing signs of severe strain with export bans looming, meaning the cheap boxes you see today are about to disappear. When you are cold, hungry, and conserving every ounce of propane, this rapid cooking staple will be the only thing standing between you and starvation. 4. The protein brick. When fresh meat becomes a distant memory, your body will begin to break down without adequate protein. Dried chickpeas are the dense, nutrient-heavy answer to that inevitable decay. While they require more preparation than lentils, their payoff in long-term satiety and caloric density is unmatched. They are effectively protein bricks that store for over a decade, providing the magnesium and iron necessary to keep your mind sharp during high-stress scenarios. But don't be fooled by current availability. Weather patterns in growing regions are decimating yields, and costs are climbing silently behind the scenes. In a severe downturn, high-protein plant sources are the first to be hoarded. By securing bulk chickpeas now, you are guaranteeing yourself a hearty, filling meal source that will outlast the crisis, long after the grocery stores have been looted and abandoned.
The ocean's last ration.
There will come a day when refrigeration is a luxury of the past, and on that day, canned sardines and mackerel will be the most valuable items in your pantry. These aren't just snacks, they are complete nutritional powerhouses packed with essential fats, calcium, and protein that require zero cooking and zero water to consume. You simply open the tin and eat. This convenience is dangerous because everyone will want it once the power grid dies. With overfishing and rising canning costs, analysts are already predicting a sharp spike in prices, making these affordable tins a fleeting opportunity. In a survival situation, the high fat content provides critical energy for warmth and brain function. Grab them now, because when the trucks stop running, these shelf-stable proteins will be the first things stripped from the shelves. The blackout butter. When the power grid dies and the gas lines run dry, your ability to cook vanishes instantly. That is when peanut butter transforms from a lunchbox staple into a critical survival asset. It is one of the few foods that offers dense fats and proteins without requiring a single second of heat or water to prepare. But the standard jars on your shelf are a ticking time bomb of rancidity. The real secret lies in powdered peanut butter, a lightweight, non-greasy variant that can sit in mylar for a decade while fresh supplies rot. Droughts are already strangling peanut harvests, and prices are creeping upward in a silent warning. If you don't secure this instant energy source now, you will face the darkness hungry, weak, and without the comfort of a simple, no-cook meal. The phantom shells. We have all seen how fragile the egg supply chain is, one bird flu outbreak, and the shelves are barren. In a total economic collapse, fresh eggs will become a memory, a luxury for the wealthy few. This is why powdered eggs are not optional. They are your only insurance against a protein-starved future. A single can holds the nutritional equivalent of dozens of eggs, impervious to spoilage and safe without refrigeration for 15 years. When your body is screaming for repair after days of high stress, these powders provide the essential amino acids that rice and beans simply cannot. Livestock chains are crumbling under rising feed costs. Do not wait until the cooler section is empty to realize that this shelf-stable protein was the most important investment you could have made.
8. The liquid legacy.
Milk is the first item to spoil when the grid fails and the first to vanish when panic sets in. Without a shelf-stable alternative, you lose a critical source of calcium and fat that is vital for children and the elderly during a crisis. Powdered milk is the white gold of preppers, capable of lasting 20 years when sealed correctly, waiting for the day you need it most. It is more than nutrition. It is a psychological anchor, offering the normalcy of a warm drink or a creamy meal when the world outside is cold and chaotic. Global dairy shortages are already pushing prices higher, and export markets are drying up. Secure this asset now, or face a future where the simple comfort of milk is nothing more than a story you tell.
The vitamin vault.
In a long-term emergency, calories are easy to find, but nutrition is not. Malnutrition is the silent killer of the unprepared. This is where canned pumpkin and sweet potatoes become your hidden lifeline. While others hoard empty carbs, these nutrient-dense staples provide the massive doses of vitamin A and fiber your immune system needs to fight off illness in a collapsing society. They require no cooking and offer a sweetness that can break the devastating monotony of survival rations. Extreme weather is already decimating crop yields, sending a clear signal that these affordable cans won't stay cheap forever. Stockpile them before the masses realize that health, not just hunger, is the real battle in a post-collapse world. The depression dust. When wheat becomes scarce and bread becomes a luxury of the past, cornmeal will reclaim its throne as the survivor's grain. It sustained families through the Great Depression, and it will sustain you when the economy buckles again. Cheap, versatile, and filling, it serves as the backbone for hearty meals that warm the body and lift the spirit. But do not underestimate the fragility of the corn market. Global supply chains are tightening, and prices are poised to spike as demand shifts away from expensive wheat. Cornmeal stores for years and pairs with almost anything to create sustenance out of scraps. If you ignore this golden grit now, you are turning your back on the most historically proven survival food in existence. Levain for the powdered comfort. When the walls close in and exhaustion sets deep into your bones, you won't just crave calories, you will crave normalcy. Instant mashed potatoes are the psychological anchor that can pull you back from the brink. In a world where fuel is scarce and clean water is rationed, these flakes are a miracle of efficiency. They demand almost nothing, no boiling, no simmering, just hot water and a few minutes of patience. But don't mistake them for mere convenience. They are a calorie-dense survival tool that pairs with almost anything to create a meal that feels like home. The chilling reality, however, is that potato yields are plummeting across major agricultural regions due to erratic climate shifts. The cheap bags you walk past today will soon be luxury items. Secure them now, because when the world outside is cold and chaotic, a warm bowl of potatoes might be the only thing keeping your morale alive. 12. The calorie king. If you want to understand the true value of pasta, imagine a week where you have to feed a starving family on less than $1 a day. That is the future we are staring down. Pasta is the ultimate survival carbohydrate, cheap, shelf-stable for a decade, and capable of turning the most basic ingredients into a feast. It requires no refrigeration and cooks in minutes, making it a critical asset when energy grids fail. But the warning signs are flashing red. Global durum wheat supplies are tightening as droughts ravage harvest after harvest in Canada and Europe. The price tags on those boxes are about to jump, and once panic sets in, the aisles will be stripped bare in hours. You need to stockpile 10, 20, maybe 50 pounds now. When the grocery stores lock their doors, this simple staple will be the difference between a full belly and a desperate night. Eternal grain. Most preppers are storing food that will expire in a few years. The survivors are storing hard red wheat berries. These aren't just seeds, they are a fortress of nutrition that can outlast nearly every other item in your pantry. Sealed properly in mylar, they remain viable for 30 years, waiting for the moment you need to grind them into flour for bread or sprout them for life-saving greens. Flour goes rancid in months, but wheat berries are the long game. With exports from major breadbasket regions drying up, the era of cheap bread is ending. By owning a bulk supply and a manual grinder, you are declaring independence from a failing supply chain. While others fight over the last loaf of stale bread, you will be baking fresh loaves from a supply that has been waiting for decades. 14. The stealth ration. You see a movie snack, I see a survival powerhouse hiding in plain sight. Popcorn kernels are one of the most misunderstood assets in the prepping world. They are a dual-threat grain that stores for decades without losing potency. Yes, they provide a critical morale boost, a warm, crunchy comfort when stress levels are peaking, but their true value lies in their versatility. With a simple hand mill, these hard kernels transform into cornmeal, giving you a renewable source of cornbread and porridge long after the processed boxes have vanished from shelves. Global corn demand is skyrocketing, and when the supply chain fractures, these humble kernels will become a coveted source of calories. Don't underestimate them. Stockpile them now, and you'll have a secret weapon in your pantry that offers both sustenance and sanity when you need it most. The fuel of last resort. When the crisis stretches from weeks into months and food fatigue begins to break your spirit, rolled oats will be the staple that keeps you standing. They are the cheapest, most efficient fuel source available to the modern survivor. Requiring nothing more than hot or even cold water to prepare, they save your precious fuel reserves while delivering sustained energy to keep you moving. Oats are the backbone of a long-term survival diet, stabilizing blood sugar and keeping hunger at bay far longer than empty carbs. But history warns us, during every major food shortage, oats are the first grain to disappear because everyone eventually realizes their value. Do not wait for the shelves to empty. Secure your bulk supply today, because when the economy collapses, this humble grain will be worth more than gold.
16. The psychological weapon.
When the social fabric tears and your world shrinks to the size of a single room, a simple brick of ramen noodles becomes a weapon against despair. It is not food, it is a ritual. The act of boiling water, dropping in the noodles, and stirring in that salty flavor packet is a moment of normalcy in a landscape of chaos. For less than a quarter, you get a hot meal that requires virtually no fuel, staving off the chilling bite of hunger and hopelessness. But the real asset is not the noodles, it is the seasoning. Those small foil packets are flavor currency, capable of transforming bland, repetitive rations into something palatable. Global wheat prices are already on an unnerving upward trajectory. When the next supply shock hits, these cheap, comforting meals will be the first things to be swept from the shelves by a desperate populace. The energy crystal. In a world stripped of modern conveniences, every calorie will be a treasure. Sugar and molasses will transform from kitchen sweeteners into life-sustaining fuel. Sugar is not about taste, it is about raw, immediate energy that can keep you conscious when your body is failing. But its true power lies in preservation. Without it, you cannot create the jams, jellies, and syrups that will keep scavenged fruit from rotting. Molasses is even more critical, delivering the iron and magnesium your body will be screaming for when fresh produce is a distant memory. The global sugar supply is tightening, a silent warning that this cheap commodity is about to become a controlled asset. Ignore this fundamental energy source now, and you will face the collapse with nothing but bland rations and a body running on empty. 18. The flavor alchemist. The slow erosion of morale is as dangerous as starvation. Eating the same flavorless gruel day after day will break your will to survive. This is why bouillon cubes are one of the most powerful and overlooked tools in your arsenal. These tiny salt-laced cubes are flavor alchemy. They can turn dirty water and a handful of rice into a savory broth, giving you the psychological strength to face another day. The electrolytes they contain will replenish what you lose through sweat and stress, keeping your body functional when it wants to shut down. Each time a crisis has flickered across the news, these have been among the first items to vanish. People instinctively understand their value. Stockpile them now, or prepare for a future where every meal is a reminder of what you've lost.
The liquid calorie.
You can have all the grains and beans in the world, but without cooking fat, you have nothing. Oil and lard are the forgotten pillars of survival. A single spoonful contains a shocking density of calories, providing the fuel your body needs to generate heat and perform manual labor. Without it, your food is dry, tasteless, and nutritionally incomplete. Lard and coconut oil offer a grim advantage, a shelf life that extends for years, long after bottles of vegetable oil have turned rancid. But the clock is ticking. Droughts and soaring fuel costs are crippling the production of cooking oils worldwide. In a true collapse, cooking fat will become a currency, a hoarded treasure that people will fight for. Secure your supply now, or you will learn the hard way that calories are king. The apocalypse acid. When the systems we rely on for cleanliness and medicine dissolve, apple cider vinegar will emerge as one of the most valuable liquids on the planet. This is not a condiment, it is a multi-tool for a world without rules. Its acidic nature makes it a potent preserver for foraged foods, a natural antiseptic for wounds, and a powerful disinfectant for contaminated water containers. It is a digestive aid, an insect repellent, and a key to fermentation when yeast is unobtainable. Its shelf life is virtually infinite, growing stronger and more effective with time. As the unprepared masses realize that a single bottle can replace a dozen modern products, it will disappear. Underestimate its utility at your own peril. Stockpiling this liquid now is one of the smartest, cheapest insurance policies you can buy for the end of the world as we know it.